What is up, everybody? This is Alessandro Koenig, and we are on Conan's Cave. And today we have a special guest with us. His name is Patrick, and he's going to talk about his career, what he does, and his passion for helping people out.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course, man. So the first question we have is, why did you create your business? Like, what impacted you so much to change people's lives and really have this creative flow where you're impacting the world?
Well, I think it really just stems from my history. I think, growing up, being in a family that served quite often, and my father and my mother were pastors of a huge church a long, long time ago. And, we were there to serve people, and it wasn't about the limelight. It wasn't about the glory. It was really about trying to change people's lives. And so for me, it was just a simple moving forward. It was really just me moving forward in my design and how I was created and what I wanted to do. And creating the business, it's fitness. I mean, everybody has a niche in fitness. Everybody has something to offer in fitness. I wanted to do something beyond the circle. That's the reason why I called it Beyond the Circle. For that reason, I didn't want to just have something that, okay, I'm going to train, I'm going to teach you, help you with your, how you could do your form, or how you want to lift, or how you want to walk through nutrition or supplements or something of this nature. I really wanted to try to change the way people breathed. And that is pretty much what I want to do. I really want to change the way people breathe. That's their energy, their thoughts, and their actions. And that's why I started this business, to kind of step out of the box, work with not just the body, but the soul, the mind, the will, and the emotions, and the spirit of the individual, and bring them all together as one. Because I've learned over the 30 years of being in this industry for so long, you could train the body, but the problem is that what are they going to go back to? Okay, hey, thank you, have a nice day, thanks for the paycheck, and all power to you. I wanted to give them tools. I want to give them ability to actually see themselves more than just where they are at. And it really just stems from basically people getting over the fear. And the fear is that how can I actually change my perception and my identity? And I don't want people to change their identity. I want them to rediscover their identity. So to take them back to their making, back to their genesis, is not the beginning. It actually means take them back to their making, and how they can then find themselves again. Because life throws so much at you, and fitness has a special way of being able to change the perception of what they can be in their life. And it's something as simple as picking up weight and putting it down. Or it could be something as encouraging as a word saying, you've done a great job. So creating something that was far beyond just, me trying to educate them, like, okay, lift this, put this down, and throw this around. It was more than that. It was definitely more than that.
Where did you learn all that deeper emotion, mentality, and learning that personal training is more than just telling somebody to pick a weight up and put it down? Because that's really interesting to me. Like, I see a lot of trainers just focus on, the mechanics, instead of having the client really understand why they're doing the workout. And if they're struggling with something emotionally, the emotions don't get talked about. There's no real communication. So where'd you learn that? Well,
it's a combination. You see, growing up, being in the ministry for so long, and yes, I'm a born again Christian, and so I really want to be able to help people. I'm not preaching at them. I'm not telling them, oh, you need Jesus and you're going to go to hell, that kind of thing. I'm not fire and brimstone. I'm literally just basically opening up the door to allow those things. I'm not trying to tell them what they're trying to find that kind of emotion. But what I am trying to do is find a way to find the middle, the ground that they stand on, and give them hope, give them faith, and give them, love. And, that's a very love. What are you talking about? Oh my God, you want love? I'm saying, what? Love in this guy is just basically trying to love the person and help them through, like mankind. I'm not trying to get into their business. I'm just wanting to show that there is more to life than just being able to just do something, but actually encourage them and trying to support them. So that's one facet. I mean, that's one beautiful facet of it. And again, I don't try to preach at them. I'm not trying to do all those things. But I also, at the same time, have had the opportunity to learn since the age of 12, the arts, the Shaolin arts especially. And it was a man that came into my life, and he's my Sifu. Everybody calls me Sifu, but he is my Sifu. And he brought a different view of what life is all about. And utilizing the 5 animal techniques and all of this, it wasn't just about punching and kicking. It was about development. It was about becoming self-aware and being aware of your overall surroundings. And being aware of your surroundings is not like, okay, who's going to come attack me here? Who's going to attack me there? It wasn't about that. It was being aware of situations. And how are you going to help that individual if you have the opportunity instead of ignoring that person? So if a person is needing something, help them. We go in the gym. How many times do we go in the gym and we see somebody struggle? We're like, oh, I don't know. Should I go over there and help that person? Maybe I shouldn't do that because they might think I'm crazy, may think I'm weird. They may think I'm a creep. It's gone beyond that,
Yeah.
And it would be nice to be able to go, hey, you know what? There might be a better way. And just to give them something. And get past the ego. And because there's a lot of great gyms out there that are like that. They're like a community. And then there's like, a lot of them on the other hand, that are just like, it's us and no more, that kind of thing. And I think if we were able to, in our community, in this fitness community, in our overall health and wellness community, we can really come together and just kind of learn from one another. I'm not saying I know it all. I don't know it all. I have my own specialties and I can probably bring something to the table, but I don't want to take from the table. I want to bring food to the table that everyone can eat. And that's kind of, I just think it's just important to kind of make sure that, it's these two elements that I feel that are the strongest points that I can help with, and getting them over some emotional triggers, getting them over some of those things by utilizing some of these techniques and utilizing some of the methods that I've learned over the years, and bringing love, faith, and hope. That's all it is. Real simple.
I love that, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And then what hardship in your life helped you grow to the point that you're at to this day?
Growing up, it was not easy. I'm not going to go through a 2-hour dissertation like, well, when I was 3 years old, that kind of thing. I'm going to probably state very quickly, if I can, and try to make this as clear as I can. Life throws much at you. And when that does, my mom and dad were like big time preachers back in the day. My mom is still one of the most fascinating women that I've ever met in my entire life, and had the fortunate to have her as my mom. I'm like, thank God I have her as my mom. I mean, she never gave up on us. We were 3 boys. We grew up, and she taught us what that was faith. I mean, we had it where we were sitting, or one night, I can remember this, we were in a small apartment. My mom was working. Now, she used to be she was a housewife. That's what she was. And then all of a sudden she's thrusted into a single parent trying to raise 3 boys.
Wow.
And then you got, on top of that, she doesn't really have the education that people are looking for. So she started working and sat at a computer not knowing how to use it. But she looked at the computer and said, God, you're going to have to show me how to do this. And she literally learned on her own. She was only making $400 a week, raising 3 boys. And I remember one night we didn't have food, nothing in the cupboard. Absolutely. I mean, nothing except condiments, mustard, mayonnaise. You ain't going to live on that. And one night she goes, set the table. I said, I'm sorry, Mom, what? She said, set the table. I'm like, but Mom, we have no food. She says, I said, set the table. I said, yes, ma'am. So I set the table. She says, get all the fine stuff out. I said, all right, ma'am, as you wish. We then circled the table, held hands. She says, God, you said you would never leave us nor forsake us, nor let your seed out beg for bread. Still get emotional about that. Imagine people in life going hungry, and you have a mother who didn't run out and beg for money. She didn't run out there and try to sell her soul to the devil. She stood at a table. We set the table with no food. Instead, she said, God, you said. The next morning, no joke, there was a knock on the door. We opened the door. There was nobody there, but there was groceries from our apartment to the door to the next apartment that fed us well over a month.
Oh my goodness.
We do not know where it came from.
What a story.
You see, that is what I live off of. I have that kind of faith because I've seen it. And when people can have that kind of faith in themselves, imagine what they can do for other people and what they can do for their families, what they can do. So, we talk about training. It's not just training, lifting weights. It's about rediscovering themselves and having the faith to do something that they never did before. And maybe you're like, well, I'm training. I do all the training, and that's great. But if you would empty your cup and learn, you can actually have more than what you are expecting. So faith has to be implied so that way you can far exceed your own abilities. And a lot of times I work with people that have had issues with shoulders, they frozen shoulders. I had one gentleman who had a frozen shoulder, and he literally had one left side. He couldn't even work his left side. And he stuck around. He says, I have faith in what you're doing. I trust the process. And he did it. And that man went from lifting 40 pounds, and he was uneven, by the way. So his left was way weaker than his right. We got him balanced out after 3 months. And now he's lifting triple his own weight, and he's 66 years old.
That's incredible.
Because he had faith.
Because he believes.
Because he believes.
Yep.
So it's not what I preach. It's what I know. It's my life experience that I bring to the table and go, look, I've been through this. I was over 310 pounds. I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure. I was stressed to the core. I had massive anxiety. My willpower was from the door to the couch. That was my willpower. I literally just wanted to give up. And it's the moments, the seeds that were planted in my life at a very young age that I was able to rediscover who I was. And it was like waking up from amnesia. And found myself being able to go, you know what? I can do this. This is not me. What I'm looking at is not me. As soon as I made that decision, the next day, a man comes into the store where I was working. And he said, are you ready? Ready for what? He says, you're ready. I can see it in your eyes. You're ready to do some work. Meet me at the gym.
No way.
Yeah. So we went to this warehouse gym. No joke. A warehouse gym. It was out in the middle of godforsaken nowhere. It's in Arkansas. So in Arkansas, we get this thing. It was called, and on top of that, it was called 24-Hour Christian Gym. It still exists, run by Dennis Ruppel.
What?
Yeah, he's the most honest man, brutally honest man, but I love him. Love him. Walk in, and we started to train. And I mean old school. I mean, we're talking old. We had maybe a fan, 2 fans maybe working. Didn't care. We hit that place and he started to train me. That's when I met Dennis, the owner. Dennis then took over the reins and he started to show me. He has a master's in kinesiology. He takes people that have literally been on a cane or a walker and will take them and turn them in being able to, from a cane to a walker, and now they're walking like 20-year-olds. And they're in their 60s and 70s. But he also trains young people too. So the demographic, there was no, like, this is where I'm doing. He had the full demographic. I mean, this man was like, I remember him like doing weights and he goes, what are you doing? And I says, I am doing dumbbell and he goes, no, you're not doing dumbbell press. That's not right. And I went, what? He says, meet me here at 5:00 the next morning. I'm going to show you. He took me under his wing and he taught me everything he knew. That was my education for 8 years.
Was he like famous on Instagram at all? Because I heard the name and I'm like, I recognize that name from somewhere.
You know what? He's not a big media guy. I mean, he really isn't. He does. I know he has Facebook. You know, he's Dennis Rupel. You know, you can find him on Facebook. You know, and the man had legs. I mean, this dude had legs that were so cut. It was insane. I mean, we would do a round robin. You know what a round robin is. And we did leg round robin. We started off with, he put 315 pounds. Everybody had to do 315 pounds, 15 reps. Then we had to go to the leg press and do 500 pounds, do 500 pounds, 15 reps. Then go to the leg extension. And there was no stopping. Everybody was on a post and we would just keep moving.
Wow.
For 5 sets.
So he's all about the suffering, promoting the suffering and just handling adversity.
But it wasn't about like driving weight. It was about, oh no, we're concentrating. We're going to press. And that was during a time when I was at 300 pounds after I was still 310 pounds. I wasn't in shape and he's already doing this stuff to me. Then I had to pick up all the weights and put them away after it was all said and done and clean. And I actually worked. And I worked there and he says, you clean, I'll just give you a free membership. I said, okay. So I cleaned the gym.
It was like your little trade-off.
This was my mentor in the gym.
Nice.
This was the man who taught me everything I knew as far as the gym was concerned.
Did he educate you about supplements that you know to this day? How did you?
No, the supplement wise, it came from, I worked for a lot of big industries, you know, I'm not going to necessarily name them right now, but some very major ones. And I was then educated through their programs that they had. I started to understand ingredients. I started to understand the methods. I would sit in lectures that would probably cost someone $5,000 just to sit at a lecture, and I was getting it for free under doctors and so forth and so on. I've even had one gentleman, we won't name his name, but he was at the time he was worked for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he was also a neurosurgeon. And he was talking about fish oils, and he was talking about how the brain and so forth and so on. And he wasn't saying that the supplements here, I'm going to preference this because I know people will probably go, what are you talking about supplements like that? You know, I'm not saying they replace nutrition. Okay? Hear that right now. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying that people need to understand that there is, sometimes you need the support based on what their needs are. And so certain supplements will support those needs if you need them in that regard. So I learned how to utilize them in a fashion, not where we're just buying a bunch of stuff and thinking we're going to get big. It's not going to happen that way. You still have to put in the work and you still have to do nutrition, period. Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to go steroids, that's one way. But if you're trying to do everything more naturally, their supplements can support you and allow you to basically get the kind of results that you need. It may not be as quick as taking some performance enhancers, but it will help you last longer. And so that's how I started the process, and that's how I started getting into the supplement game.
And what convinced you to like expand on that and get more into helping out clients with supplements?
I look at not just a supplement as a supplement. That's number one. For instance, you can get a Centrum, buy a Centrum off the counter. The problem is with something like a Centrum, is that they use a binding mineral or binding processing, which literally just crushes everything, puts it in there. So you can take it, but the stomach and the acid, it will not break it down. So you're not getting any of the benefits that it says you're going to get. You're pooping half of it out because it's still bound together. So it doesn't break apart. Processing of supplements is highly more important than what people say it's in there. So you can claim whatever you want on a bottle, but what is the processing method? Are they using a fermented processing? Are the resources that they're giving, are they checked for heavy metals and on the bulk when they receive them? Are they checking? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not just about, okay, take this supplement and everything is going to be great.
Yeah.
You can say, you got 5,000 milligrams of branched chain amino acids. You're going to get all the effect. The problem is if the processing is not good, your absorption rate or basically your utilization rate of that could be between 30 to 40%. Because the fact is that the rest of it is just junk. So you want to make sure that if you're buying a supplement, find out what kind of processing it is. It's like, it's very simple to look at. You want the best kind that are going to support your ability to utilize it the best way you can in a performance. And me helping people out is not basically feeding them a bunch of stuff. Let's find what they actually need in support of what they're trying to accomplish. I mean, some of the foundations, creatine, duh. Yeah. I mean, it's the most researched out there. So yeah, definitely creatine, but you want to make sure you get a good quality creatine. If you stir it and there's still powder going on in there, you might want to find another one that is actually kind of dissolves and you get more out of it. I mean, you want it to be more clear. You want to find something that really helps to break that down. If you're buying glutamine, now glutamine can be an interesting subject, but glutamine really does support not necessarily trying to get rid of the lactic acids. It does support like the stomach itself. It helps with the overall stomach, the process, which we do need, especially if you are in fitness and you're doing these programs, for the lack of the better word. I swear to God, I could go on and on about those. It's really about balance. You want a good balanced nutrition. And if you don't have enough fibers in your diet or in your nutrition, I hate to use the word diet even. I don't like that word. But if you use that in your deal, you want to make sure you're balanced. You have a good sense of calories, macros, that's protein, carbs, and the fats. But when you do a supplementation, it's about finding what is going to be best suited based on what you're trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to lose weight, I don't recommend going out there and just buying a bunch of, weight loss pills. Yeah. I really don't. I would rather you have a good balanced nutrition and reducing the kind of calories or maintaining a different type of calories based on what the coach is trying to, help you with. But I don't subscribe to necessarily just buying a bunch of pills just to try to reduce the weight. What I'm trying to do is why are we not losing the weight? And what doctors are saying. So it's very important to stay and find out what, what's going on in the blood. Let's find out, what you're deficient in. It's literally finding out what you're deficient in and finding out what our needs are there. And then combining the type of foods that are going to support it like that. So if you have a lot of stomach issues, let me just put it this way. A supplement can be a benefit to it. Okay. So if you are taking something that is going to help like bromelain, digestive enzymes are very supportive to helping the process of digestion. But I don't just subscribe to that. I tell the client, it says, okay, are you having a lot of bloating feeling? What is the feeling? I'm feeling a lot of nausea. Okay, well, if you're feeling nausea, eat more pineapple because pineapple has the bromelain in it. So that's going to help. In fact, if you're on a vacation and you go on a cruise and you have problems with seasickness and you're like that, eat more pineapple. That'll help.
There you go, guys.
There's a tip for free. It's really going to be about nutrition. There's no substitute. And there's not one pill out there that's going to tell you you cannot substitute. It's not going to happen. However, you can actually take something that could be supportive to the foods that you're eating that will allow you to basically be able to process more. So digestive enzymes. If I tell you, hey, you're gonna have to eat more kimchi or more fermented foods like sauerkraut, oh, I don't like that. Then you might want to then take some digestive enzymes if you're not willing to do fermented type foods that are actually going to help you with the processing this. One of my go-tos is apple cider vinegar. If I'm feeling bloated, take some swigs of that. Man, it just takes care of everything.
And like people should bring back also, or I should say how fitness influencers should bring back the mentality of always going back and readjusting if need be. Meaning you say you're training and you have a certain diet and you're not getting results from that diet. Do some check-ins, look at yourself in the mirror. Where are you carrying fat? And go from there. Maybe you ate too much carbs the day before and maybe you got to lower it a little bit. Maybe you got to lower your protein. But a lot of people don't talk enough about making those adjustments, not just sticking to one plan and thinking that's the end all be all, right?
Yeah, there's so many fads and so many diets out there. It's absolutely ridiculous now.
Yeah, like you figured out your diet from trial and error. You figured out what foods don't respond well to you and what foods respond well to you,
Well, and then, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to eat a Pop-Tart one. There's, I say it all the time. In fact, I use that analogy a lot, honestly. I think I'm kind of training it. But I really do. I mean, if I eat a Pop-Tart, I'm going to have a Pop-Tart. Okay, we're like, well, that's processed. I don't care. I want the Pop-Tart. I may pay for it whatever later. And I may have to get. It's kind of like balance. It's really about balance. Okay, where am I going to kind of do this? You have certain things that are in life that are about bringing in that balance. So it's not about taking away your foods. It's about understanding your foods and then allowing that to work more profitable in your daily life. I don't, you could spend, and I've done this. I spend hours trying to meal prep. Meal prepping, I hate meal prepping. Some people love it. I get it, but I don't. I'm spending way too much, and I love cooking, but meal prepping is not cooking. It's not. So I want to make sure that I'm like, okay, how can I not do this? And it's about, again, going back to balance, finding out exactly, tracking all that information, and then bringing it into more something that is more applicable to your lifestyle instead of, me trying to tell, okay, I'm going to tell you how I do it. And this is my meal plan because this is the way I do it, because your body is not my body. So we have to figure out, it is about that. It's about you getting, and that's the part where it comes back full circle. It's about us as not just trainers and coaches, it's about guides. I'd rather be a guide than, that's the reason why people call me seafood, because seafood means guide. It's in loosely terms. Yeah. It's a guide. It's just someone that is on the same path as you. I just may have some information that you don't have. That's all it is. I'm not a master of anything. I'm a master student, but I'm not a master. I don't claim myself to just know everything under the sun. I don't. And that's what makes, I think, a lot of times people, the walls can come down. And so if I'm expressing to you, like if I tell you, you got to eat it like this, and you've got to do this, yeah, it may work. But is that something you're going to carry on through your entire lifestyle when you leave? How about bringing balance to it and kind of getting into their world a little bit, finding out what's actually going on in their body and seeing if, okay, do we need to adjust not only just what's going on as far as the programs, as far as what we call nutrition, or do we also need to add something in there like a supplement that will support your overall ability to do that? Again, supplement's not going to be the end all. It's just something there to support your lifestyle, not trying to give you something more.
Yeah, like you brought up a great point about the magnesium. Really amazing point that sometimes you need supplements for your workout, and people don't understand that as well, which is an important concept, like having your creatine, of course, but magnesium to have sustainable energy. Yeah. So as soon as I started supplementing more magnesium during my workout, I instantly felt amazing. I'm able to have a long-lasting workout, able to add in more volume. And that's a big key thing, because it's like you're prepping all your meals for the day and you're eating accordingly. And then you hit the workout and you're like, why am I tired? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, so there are situations where it's like, if you're going for a run, like having your electrolytes, being prepared with that, you know?
Yeah. You know, electrolytes are huge. Trace minerals are huge because they're responsible for contraction and expansion of muscle. You have, you know, magnesium. You speak of magnesium, and we use calcium and magnesium every day, and we don't really know what we're doing when we do that. If you pick something up, that's magnesium. You let something go, if you pick something up, that's calcium. If you let something go, that's magnesium. And we do that on a constant every day. And imagine if somebody's in the gym and they're constantly pulling, grabbing, pulling, and letting go, pulling, letting go. You're constantly utilizing those minerals in your body, and you're depleting them. You need to replenish them, you know, and you can take a supplement to support that, but your nutrition has a lot of those things in them, those elements in there. And so if you're doing the right foods, and when I say the right foods, they're kind of the combination of foods. You're not just pigeonholing yourself to a one type of food. That's only going to limit you on what kind of elements you're going to get out of that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
You want something that has a supportive of all those things. And so what we want to be able to do is create an environment that is allowing the education to be applied to their life, so that when they do leave, they have enough knowledge and enough information that they feel confident, and they can continue on with those kinds of programs, if you will, if you want to call them programs, but lifestyles is preferably what I like to call them. And I think there's some great coaches out there that know exactly what to do. There really is. And they understand that. And that's a beautiful thing, because when you have people out there that actually know how to apply these things, it gives you back the education piece. If you're going to find a coach out there, find someone that actually will kind of be a part of, I'm not saying like they got to be a part of your entire life where you're, you know, running around with them and that kind of thing, but be a part of their life as far as their support, to make sure that they're getting the proper education pieces and tools. Because believe me, they'll come back. I have one that I'm so proud of. The gentleman that I told you was 66 years old. He's been with me over 1.5 years. And he's not leaving. And it's not because I'm this fantastic. I basically just help him through the process. And through the process, I've been able to give him the tools that he needs. And because of that, I've earned his loyalty, and I've earned his trust. So now I can do what I want to be able to do for him, not to him, for him. That applies to everything that we were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, it's incredible, because you're like showing him value by making his life easier, in a nutshell. And when you make someone's life easier and less stressed out, and they can be more efficient in their work life, it's game over from there. Yeah. Then at that point, you're like his family member, you know what I mean? Because that's huge for people.
It is. It's a big deal. But it also goes back to getting over the fear. The fear is between the person that is trying to help the other person. And the fear is like, okay, I got to build trust, and I don't know if I want to trust you or not. And besides that, now there's financial things that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you stop thinking about your marketing and actually talk to the person, you might get more out of that person than trying to sell that person.
Yeah. Because you're identifying the goal of, like, everyone has a different goal. Yeah. Like, that's why people choose different coaches, because sometimes they want to be a bodybuilder. Sometimes they want to be just in shape. Absolutely. It just really just depends.
It depends on what you're trying to do in your lifestyle. And I get it. And okay, I'm going to make a statement. You're not going to find me on any program unless I was on a competition of some sort, but you're not going to find me taking off my shirt and trying to talk about a supplement or trying to talk about some meal plan. I'm not going to do that. Why? They're not paying attention to what I'm saying. That's not what they're going to pay attention to. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I want the work, I want the knowledge to speak for itself. I know I'm fit. I don't have to prove that I'm fit. I don't have to prove I have this. all of us have, we go through our times. I mean, I've gone through my times when I'm 260 pounds and I've got a lot of fat on me. And right now I'm already losing a lot of the weight. I'm kind of getting myself down, and I want to do that. And I'm in the process of, probably going to be standing on the stage again, but I want to be able to do something that is lifetime now. Now I'm like, okay, this is the way I want to be. This is how I want to look. This is how I want to, live my life. And there's people in my life that inspire me, and those people that do inspire me, I want to be able. So it's not about me knowing everything. It's about basically learning and then observing and being able to be inspired to do certain things. So I'm not saying that, you have to look like the catalog, but be healthy about what you want. And I don't, for me, it's not something I need to do to try to sell something. I want to educate.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. I just want to be a part of the process of helping people. I'm not here to think I know it all. And I know people may even disagree with even some of the things I say. That's fine. That's fine. But, I've been doing this for 30 years. It's not like I just fell off the turnip truck. I've went through all the processes. I've been through all the diet fads. I mean, I remember when Atkins diets come out and all these diets, now we got carnivore, keto, you name it. But are those life sustaining? Can you stay that way? And how is your budget going to handle that on top of that? Could you imagine a carnivore diet? You're buying like 24 pounds. It's like, are you kidding me? No. I'm sorry, that's not my way. I want balance. I want to be able to have carbs. I want to have some fibers.
He wants to be sane.
I want to be, yeah, exactly. I love protein. Don't get me wrong, but too much protein without fibers, we got problems now.
Right. I mean, even myself, like after taking a break from sugar, I'm now starting to incorporate, like an acai bowl. Like, hey, I can fit it into my carbs now because I'm not like going off the board with sugar. I'm not binging out on it. Right. But it's because I implemented that control. Some people think, oh, you got to get rid of it forever. It's like, no, you don't have to, just until you get in control. Get in control of whatever your vice is. Right. Once you're in control of it, now you can implement, know. And I think it's healthy because it's like, oh, every time I need that, it's DoorDash. It's not like they're sending me 50 of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I remember one time, it was a while back. This was during my prepping time.
Yeah.
And I had, they took peanut butter away from me. Now at that time, man, I was craving peanut butter like crazy because that was the thing I was able to do. This is during my prepping timeline. This is how bad it got. And I was like, I'm not supposed to so I'm looking at the calories and then I'm looking at all the stuff and I'm like, okay, well, what I'll have to do is I'm going to have to go and work out and get on the step mill for probably another hour and a half on top of the 30 minutes that I'm going to do, and then go train probably another hour and a half and just hit it pretty hard. Because just to compensate for, I literally took 2 tablespoons of peanut butter against my coach's will because I wanted it that bad. But you know what? It was an eye opener because I took it. My lights came on. I went to go work out. I had the best workout I ever had. And it was funny because I did something that was my first initiation to that. And then, for life, I was just kind of like, okay, we just need to do it this way. And then learning more about nutrition through some fantastic sources that really helped to do that. And I mean, we're talking about lifetime. We're talking 30 years of learning things and moving forward and going, okay, you don't have to do it this way. You can do it this way. And I learned really quick that everybody's different and everybody's not going to be the same. So why am I trying to apply my method to your body when it's not necessarily going to work for your body on prepping? Like, oh, you got to eat 3,000, it's like, okay, 3,000, 3,000 calories is fine. But then you're eating, most of it's protein and very low carb. I'm like, not so much. We need to balance that out, and that could be the opposite. You may need more carbs and you do need this. And supplements come into play when they're needed. And that's a part of it.
That's where the readjusting comes in, right?
That's correct.
When you notice, hey, my carbs are too low. Let me add like 80 more. Let's add 20 more. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
right? And then somebody else might be like, oh, I need 200 more.
Yeah.
But it's because they made that readjustment.
They made the adjustment
Instead
you
of-
know, and if you have somebody that's on your side, you know, that
Yep.
is there to help to support you, and they have some knowledge in that, and maybe you don't, but you're like wanting to do this, they can actually work with you and then find a way to incorporate some of those things, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like I said, I pizza, Pop-Tarts, and Cookie Crisp cereals. You know, I mean, why not?
Right. That's the way to go.
Why not?
All right, guys. And that wraps it up for Conan's Cave. Thanks again, Patrick,
Thank
for
you.
everything. I appreciate you opening up and giving us a bunch of value. Really appreciate that, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And until next time, guys,